All right, gonna go live in about a minute here. Just taking some time, waiting to see who we get in. Oh, we already got some people in, so just give me a couple seconds. Gotta hydrate. Go ahead and get started right away. All right, welcome back to WMMA Now with your host, Chuck Simmons, and welcome to episode number 129 of the WMMA Report regular show. We go over everything going on within the world of the women's divisions of mixed martial arts, previews, reviews, rankings, updates, news, you name it. We're going to go over everything tonight. A couple of discussion topics. We're going to talk Valerie Loureda leaving MMA for WWE. Is anyone really going to miss her? And then, interesting article from MMAnews.com talking about Julianna Pena, the undisputed UFC Women's Bantamweight champion, applauding Carla Esparza's approach so far as champion, including her comments regarding, Zan and Marina Rodriguez. We're going to talk a little bit about that because that subject does not seem to want to go away. So we're gonna talk about it. It's still relevant. But first, let's get started where we always get started with the weekend results. So first up, we are going to XFN 381. Had one ladies bout at, I believe this was a bantamweight. Bella Meir defeated Jessica Link via submission due to armbar. 2 minutes, 38 seconds of the first round. Meir stays undefeated at 3-0. Link fell to 0-1. Nice fight, fast fight for Bella Meir. Quick win. Staying undefeated at 19 years old. Finally fighting in the U.S. now because her first two fights, she was 17 years old, had to fight down in Mexico as a pro. Took all of 2021 off. Returns midway through this year. Made her U.S. debut for XFN, in Oklahoma. I'll tell you what, the pop she got from that crowd was very surprising because, I believe she's from Las Vegas. So, not expecting that big of a crowd pop. Anyway, this fight was on UFC Fight Pass. If you have that, you can go watch it. Also, I did a full breakdown of it in a video. You can go check that out as well. That was last Friday. Also, last Friday, we had Bellator 282. Two ladies bouts on the card. First up at flyweight, Ilara Joanny defeated Alejandra Lara via unanimous decision. Joanny climbed 10-6. Lara fell to 9-6. I'll tell you what, it is getting increasingly frustrating as a Alejandra Lara fan to watch her fights because she just keeps making the same mistakes in every fight. And the biggest one has to be overextending on her strikes. I mean, she is excuse me. She overextends on all of her strikes, and then it's so easy to clinch up with her and then take her down. And that's what Joanny did. Also, her takedown defense hasn't improved. The ground game really hasn't improved. I know she trains a lot out of Lobo Gym, and I like Lobo Gym, but I think she needs to go somewhere else at this point. I just think that she's done all she can, or she's gotten all that she can get out of Lobo Gym, and I think she needs to go to a better gym at this point. For Joanny, good job. I wasn't sure if she'd do it, win it, or not. To me, this fight was a toss-up, and then Joanny just showed herself to be a superior fighter. Then at featherweight, Kat Zingano defeated Pam Sorensen via unanimous decision. What's the record there? Zingano climbed to 13-4. Sorensen fell to 9-5. Good showing for Kat. Not a great showing, but a good showing for her. She's not ready for Cyborg. I mean, that's like the only fight really that makes sense for her at this point. And I think they've been holding that Bellator has been holding off on booking that fight. She's not ready for Cyborg. She goes in against Cyborg. I think she's going to get killed against Cyborg, but that's what's going to happen next. Cat looked okay, but far from great. So I did a full review video of this fight. If you want, go check that out after the show. Then on Saturday, we had Aries FC7, excuse me, over in Paris, France, available on UFC Fight Pass. Had two ladies fights. First up at featherweight, Melissa Dixon coming in on late notice, defeats Rizlan Zoak via unanimous decision. Dixon climbed 4-0. Zoak fell to 6-5. Zoak's a very popular fighter over there in France, but man, she is just so inconsistent. Just so inconsistent. That might be the one thing that she is consistent with, is being inconsistent. It's like this girl came in on like super short notice. There's just no excuse for that, for losing to someone coming in on less than a week. Then at strawweight, Evelina Wozniak defeated Anastasia Fyofanova via submission due to rear naked choke. 2 minutes, 26 seconds of round number 2. Wozniak climbed 7-1. Fyofanova fell to 8-2. Very nice comeback for Wozniak here. Got absolutely beat up and then submitted in her last bout against, I forget the girl's name, but it was her first loss, and it was a pretty bad loss too, like devastating loss. But Wozniak came back and beat up a highly touted Russian prospect in this bout. So she definitely can't write off Evelina Wozniak yet. Then we had UFC Fight Night, Sarukian versus Gamrot. We had one ladies bout in the strawweight division. This was the opening bout of the card, where Vanessa Demopoulos defeated Jinyu Fry via split decision. Demopoulos climbed to 8-4. Fry fell to 11-7. So I did a full breakdown video on this one as well, which you can check out later. I did not agree with this decision. Okay, did not agree with this decision at all. To me, easy. 29-28, Jinyu Fry. Only round I could see you giving Demopoulos would be round 3, because it was the only round where she really tried to do anything. It was like the only round where she was not only the aggressor, she was actually starting to land her strikes. Did some groundwork, a little bit of groundwork, a lot of work in the clinch. Did land some nice clinch knees. So I could give Vanessa Demopoulos the third round, but the first two for me were Jinyu Fry, easy. And then one judge gave like all 3 rounds to Demopoulos. I don't know what fight he was watching. He must have been like sleeping in the first round, because there's no way you could give Demopoulos the first round. No way. One judge gave all 3 rounds to her. And another one gave her 2 rounds. She got split decision. Another UFC Apex show, another week of questionable decisions. That's really all that it comes down to. Las Vegas and questionable decisions. So that is it for the fight results for this past week. So let's move on into the news. Oh, by the way, before we get into the news, if you could, please take a moment to hit the like button. It's really the only thing I'm going to ask you to do, is just take a moment to hit that like button. It helps get the stream going through the YouTube algorithm, draws more people to it, lets people know that we are live. Now, if at any time you decide that you like the programming and you like the programming that I have available, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But right now it's more important to hit that like button and get this algorithm favoring the show. Also, the chat should be on your right side or below if you are on your phone. The chat is open, so if at any time you want to leave a comment or if you have a question, feel free to say something in the chat or even just say hello. So the chat is open. Anyway, let's get down into the news. Let me organize my desk here real quick so I can prop my notebook up and read it more easily. Sorry about that. All right. We've got Easy E in the chat here. Says, I was actually tuning out during the Ufry versus Demopoulos match because Demopoulos was getting pieced up and I just knew she was going to lose that decision. And then bad judging strikes again. Yeah, Demopoulos was getting pieced up, especially the first round, continued a little bit into the second round. Third round I gave her, but that fight should have gone to Chin. Straight up. That was just a bad decision. And all right, first up in the news. Okay, so some bad news for UFC 276 this weekend. We were supposed to be getting the flyweight bout between Lauren Murphy and Misha Tate. It was going to be Misha Tate's flyweight debut. Unfortunately, Lauren Murphy came down with COVID, and they couldn't find a replacement for Misha Tate. So for now, that bout has been pushed back to July 16th for the UFC Fight Night card in Long Island, New York. And then on July 18th in Japan is going to be Pancrase 328. They added a flyweight bout. Nori taking on Aoi Koriyama. Should be a fun one. Sloppy but fun fight. And then Aries 8 goes down September 2nd in Paris, and that'll be available on UFC Fight Pass. They've added the inaugural flyweight championship between Alexandra Tekina and Ivana Stiric. Both have fought for Aries several times. I think both of Tekina's pro fights have been with Aries, and I know Ivana Stiric has fought for them at least twice now. That should be a good one. Should be a good little flyweight scrap for their inaugural championship between two promising prospects. So I'm really looking forward to that one. That's September 2nd on Fight Pass. And in some one championship news, one has signed 26-year-old Thai Noelle Grandjean. She is a 3-0 atom weight. I think she'll be fighting. She's like a genuine atom weight, and she'll be fighting in their 115-pound atom weight division. Then Octagon 34 goes down later this month, July 23rd in Prague, Czech Republic. And they've added a bantamweight bout. Cornelia Holm taking on Raza Gumiena. So Holm has been a bit of a mainstay for Octagon. She's fought a bunch of times for them. I don't know if it's Raza, maybe it's Rosa. Rosa Gumiena is a newcomer to Octagon, but she looks like a pretty decent prospect. So should make for a fun fight there. And it's good to see, because Octagon has lost their top 3 ladies this year. Teresa Bleda is going to be fighting on a contender series. Lucia Pudilova got signed back to the UFC, and Lucia Sabova is pregnant. So that's like their top 3 women fighters. But it's good to see that Octagon is still staying committed to having ladies fights. And Open FC 21 goes down next weekend, July 10th, in St. Petersburg, Russia, and they're having a championship bout for their inaugural featherweight title. Anna Remneva taking on Elaine Macario. So keep an eye out for that one. Then LFA 137 goes down July 29th in California. They added a flyweight bout, Diani Barbosa. I believe she's fought in Invicta once before. She is taking on Lisa Malden. So keep an eye on that one. That will, of course, be on UFC Fight Pass for LFA 137. Then KSW 72 goes down July 23rd in Poland. They've added a flyweight bout. Emilia Cervinska taking on Sarah Luzar-Smythe. I don't know what it is. This past week has been like a million fight announcements for fights that are happening in July. So, I mean, tomorrow is July 1st, but it's like taking up until the week before the start of July to actually get July fights announced. It's weird. Then Bellator 283 goes down July 22nd in Tacoma, Washington. They've added a flyweight bout. Vida Ortega taking on Vanessa Porto. That should be a fun fight, a fun flyweight bout. Porto, I forget what her ranking is currently. She might not even be ranked for Bellator. Let me check. She's currently ranked number 7. Ortega is ranked at number 5. So that'll be a good bout for in the top 10 flyweight rankings in Bellator. Of course, Porto was a former Invicta flyweight champ. Excuse me. Ortega, she always brings the action, so that should make for a fun fight. And UFC 278 goes down August 20th in Salt Lake City, Utah. They've added a flyweight bout. Miranda Maverick taking on Shanna Young. Now, interestingly enough, this is actually a rematch. These two faced off in the flyweight Invicta Phoenix Series one-night tournament, and Maverick submitted Shanna Young en route to winning the tournament. So we'll see if Shanna Young has improved enough to take on Maverick and Avenger, get that loss back. We'll have to see. And Double G FC 13 just got announced for August 20th in South Korea. They're having an inaugural flyweight championship between Hyunji John and Jung Yoon Chae. And I looked up the stats on this bout. I had it written down somewhere. The height difference in this bout is going to be absolutely insane. Just find my post here for this one. Oh, no, I didn't have it written down. I think it's something like almost 20 centimeters difference in height. So Hyunji John is moving up from strawweight to flyweight, whereas Jung Yoon Chae previously fought at bantamweight. Now she's moving down to flyweight. So it's almost like a 20 centimeter height difference. It is like a ridiculous height difference. It's going to be very fun, entertaining bout to watch. I can't wait to see that one. Then Uljan FC1 goes down July 8th, so next weekend in Uljan, South Korea. And they've added a ladies' main event, minus 55 kilogram catch weight. Junghwa Shin taking on Yaron Hall. I've covered Yaron Hall a few times on the channel. Seems like a decent little, she mostly fought at atom weight, moving up in weight a little bit, taking on a newcomer, though, in Junghwa Shin. And that's going to be in a main event for this Uljan FC1. They're having 2 events that weekend, but this is the only ladies bout, and it's the main event for day 1. So good on the ladies capturing a main event in South Korea. And then final bit of news, and this just came out earlier today. UFC has an event scheduled for October 15th, probably most likely going to be a fight night. Added a strawweight bout. Angela Hill taking on Lupita Godinez. So no Overkill versus Lupita. That's going to be a fun fight. Looking forward to that one. I think that one's going to bring the action. But we'll see. I think that's a good bout. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, that's a good one. And because Hill is currently ranked, as far as I know, she's somewhere in the bottom 5 of the rankings. Hill is at number 13 currently in the rankings, just above Jessica Penny and Luana Pinheiro. So this is a good chance for Godinez. If she can get a win here over the more experienced Hill, she can find herself in the rankings. So good for Godinez. And for Hill, she's got to really, she's going to have a tough fight in this one to hold on to her ranking spot. So that is it for the news updates. So we've got some rankings updates I want to get into. Bring the screen back up here. All right, we've got some Bellator rankings updates. No UFC ranking updates because the only UFC fight was between, or this past weekend was between unranked fighters. But we do have some big changes in Bellator's rankings. So first up, Alejandra Lara lost to the unranked Laura Giovanni and moved down 4 spots. She was at number 5, moved down 4 spots to number 9 now. Vita Ortega moved up from 6 to 5. Deanna Bennett moved up from 7 to 6. Vanessa Porta moved up 2 spots to number 7. Justine Kish, though, held on steady at number 8. Here's my big disappointment, though. Laura Giovanni just beat the number 5 fighter. At least put her in at number 10. Come on, at least put her in at number 10. Why is Diana Avsaragova still ranked at number 10 over Laura Giovanni when Giovanni just beat, and I mean unquestionably beat the number 5 ranked fighter? That's what drives me nuts about these rankings when they're done by a committee. A lot of times the people on the committee don't know what they're doing. I mean, Giovanni at least deserves a spot at the bottom of the rankings after that performance. But that's one of the reasons I made a community post about these rankings updates. And I said, Bellator going to Bellator. This is what I mean. Then over at featherweight, Kat Zingano moved up 1 spot from 2 to 1, bumping Arlene Blenko down from 1 to 2. I don't think Kat Zingano beats Arlene Blenko. I don't. And I certainly don't think she deserves to be at number 1 over Arlene because Kat was at number 2 and she just beat the number 6 fighter, Pam Sorensen. So beating number 6 does not move you from 2 to 1. Well, she should have been at number 2 in the first place. But because she's going to end up facing Cyborg, that's why she's up that high in the rankings. But she's beaten one ranked fighter in Bellator, and she's at number 1. So again, Bellator going to Bellator. So that's it for your rankings updates. Let's move into the weekend preview. Let's keep this show rolling. I don't want to. Last week went really long. I don't want to go too long tonight. So let's keep it moving. So first up, we've got PFL number 6 for 2022. The ladies are back. We've got 5 ladies bouts going into this one. First up, we have Helena Kolesnik taking on Vanessa Mello. Kolesnik coming off a win in her last bout, and Mello coming in off a loss in her PFL debut. Taking a look at the stats here, Kolesnik coming in at 6-4, Mello coming in at 11-9. Kolesnik picked up her first win in 4 years? And a little over a month ago, she got a split decision over Abby Montez, whereas Mello dropped a decision to Martina Jindrova at that same event. Mello is 2 years the elder, 34-32. Lesnick coming in with a nice height and reach advantage. She stands 5 feet 9 inches, 175 centimeters tall to Melo's 5 feet 5 inch, 165 centimeters. And then Kalesic has the reach advantage, of course, 68 inches, 173 centimeters to 64 inches, 163 centimeters for Melo. Should be. I'm going to go with Kalesnik to win this one. I think Melo is too small for lightweight. We saw that when she fought Martina Jindrova. She did not have time to really bulk up and adjust to lightweight. Now, if she can get Helena Kolesnik down to the ground, she has a chance. I just don't think she's going to be able to. Kolesnik's big. She's a big lightweight. She used to fight at featherweight, but I don't think she'll ever make featherweight again. She's pretty big for lightweight, so I think she'll be hard for Melo to take down. So I'm going to go with Helena Kolesnik to win this one. Next up, we have Martina Jindrova taking on Zamzagul Faisalanova. Jindrova comes in at 5-2. Faisalanova comes in at 7-2. Jindrova's riding two wins going into this one. She defeated Jacqueline Cavalcanti via split decision 3 months ago. And then in the last PFL event, she defeated Vanessa Mello via decision. Faisalanova was basically a human sacrifice to Larissa Pacheco in her last bout. Got demolished on the feet. I mean, just straight up demolished. Like she took one hit and wanted out of there and then just got destroyed. Anyway, the Czech fighter Jindrova is 31 to the Kazakh Faisalanova's 30 years. Jindrova 1 inch taller, 5 feet 8 inches, 172 centimeters to 5'7", 70 centimeters for Faisalanova. And then Jindrova has a reach 68 inches, 173 centimeters, 67 inch, 170 centimeters for Faisalanova. I'm going to go with Jindrova to win this one. Faisalanova just. I think she'll have a better chance against Jindrova than she will against Pacheco. Because, I mean, Jindrova doesn't hit that hard. But from what I've seen of her, she's not very good. I mean, both of these ladies have moved up from featherweight to fight in PFL. But Jindrova is definitely the better fighter from what I've seen and has faced better opposition. So I'm going with Jindrova. Faisalanova should be 0-2 in the PFL. Moving along, then we move to Marina Maknatkina taking on Abigail Montez. Maknatkina coming in at 6-3. Montez coming in at 3-1. Now both these ladies coming in off of a loss here. Maknatkina dropped a decision to Kayla Harrison at the last event, PFL ladies event, and Montez dropped a split decision to Kolesnik that same day. Let's see. Maknatkina is the elder fighter by 12 years. She's 34 to Montez's 22. They stand the same height, 5 feet 6 inches, 168 centimeters. Montez has 1 inch reach on Maknatkina, 67 inches, 170 centimeters, 66 inches, 168 centimeters. I think this is the closest match fight on this card for the ladies, honestly. Maknatkina has the experience, but Montez, she's gutsy. Like she will gut it out against anyone she faces. Gonna go with Maknekina. I think she's overall just has more skills than Montez. I mean, Montez is still growing as a fighter. I think this fight will be close though. Montez fights honestly, she fights above her experience level from what I've seen of her. And Maknekina though held her. I don't say she held her own against Harrison, but I think she gave Harrison a much tougher fight than anybody actually expected her to. Having that Sambo pedigree really helped her, at least offensively, against Kayla Harrison. I mean, she couldn't get any offense of her own going, but she did manage to hold up defensively against Kayla Harrison. So I'm going to go with Marina Maknekina, just more overall more skilled, but I do like this matchup. I think this will be a good test for Montez here. And Maknekina isn't just going, doesn't have like a huge size advantage over Montez that Olena Kolesnik did. So we're going with Marina Maknekina to win. Let me move on to this is the battle of the heavy hitters here. Larissa Pacheco taking on Jenna Fabian. Pacheco coming in at 16-4. Fabian coming in at 5-2. Pacheco riding a 3-fight winning streak over Julia Pajic last year, Olena Kolesnik also last year, and then most recently demolished Zamzagul Faizalanova in the first round. Jenna Fabian coming in off of a win over Julia Budd. Little bit of an upset there. Julia Budd was favored to win that bout. Fabian came in and won. Definitely was able to use her size to her advantage there and upset the former Bellator featherweight champion. Fabian's the elder fighter, 32-27 for Pacheco. Big difference in height and reach here. 6 feet even, 183 centimeters for Jenna Fabian. To Pacheco's 5 feet 6 inches, 168 centimeters in height. And then the advantage stays for Fabian in the reach as well. 74 inches, 188 centimeters, 69 inches, 175 centimeters for Pacheco. Both heavy hitters. I think this fight, honestly, I think Fabian is the more skilled striker. Fabian definitely packs more dynamite in her punches. On the ground is where it definitely skews more to Larissa Pacheco. I mean, Jenna Fabian's mostly still a pure striker, mostly, whereas Pacheco is definitely the more well-rounded of the two. Definitely has a better, more established ground game. If it stays on the feet, it could go either way. But if Pacheco gets Jenna Fabian down, then it's definitely going Pacheco's way. And for that reason, I'm going to go with Larissa Pacheco. And finally, oh, by the way, this is actually on the main card. So for the first time, I think ever, we get a non-Kayla Harrison female bout on the main card of a PFL show. Finally. And then last but not least, why is this one so much smaller? Oh, Kayla Harrison taking on Caitlin Young. Now, Kayla was supposed to be taking on um, Julia Budd. Julia Budd, I forget why she had to drop out. Might have been COVID. I can't remember. But unfortunately, Julia Budd had to drop out, which is unfortunate because I think that was the one fight everybody wanted to see Kayla Harrison in this year. So that's why PFL matched it up. So it's very unfortunate we're not getting that bout. But they brought in Caitlin Young. So let's go ahead and take a look at the stats on this one. Oh, this is the main event, by the way. So Harrison coming in undefeated at 13-0. Young, the striking Viking, coming in at 12-1. Harrison last fought and defeated Marina Magnatina via decision. a little over a month ago. Caitlin Young coming in riding 2 losses. Most recently fought Julia Budd, dropped a unanimous decision to her 7 months ago, and that was the PFL debut for both of them. Young is the elder fighter, 36-31 for Kayla Harrison. Young, just slightly taller, 5 feet 9 inches, 176 centimeters tall, to 5 feet 8 inches, 173 centimeters for Harrison. And Young actually has a nice reach advantage here of 3 inches, 69 inches, 175 centimeters for Young, to 66 inches, 168 centimeters for Harrison. All right, let's be honest here. This is a very one-sided fight for Kayla Harrison. I mean, all respect to Caitlin Young, who's been around forever. Like, I mean, forever. I remember watching her back in the Bodog hook and shoot one night women's tournament back in 2000, I want to say 7, where she knocked out Misha Tate with a head kick. Beautiful knockout. But she's like one of the most inconsistent fighters ever. Like, started off fire, absolutely on fire with that tournament, and then ever since then, just has been hugely inconsistent. And then now she's coming in on short notice to take on the best fighter in the PFL, Kayla Harrison. How do you not pick Kayla Harrison? Then I just saw, if you go on Twitter, to the PFL's Twitter, someone just dropped like $2.1 million bet on Kayla Harrison to win a grand total of 100 grand. So that's how skewed these odds are. PFL has the odds at minus 3,500 for Kayla Harrison to plus 1480 for Caitlin Young. That might be the most one-sided odds I've ever seen in a women's MMA bout. Just ridiculous odds. Ridiculous. So got to go with Kayla Harrison to win. Easy E in the chat says Alima McFarland will never get that belt back. She's always been criminally overrated, in my opinion. Women's flyweight is evolving past her in Bellator bit. Yeah, she definitely has a long road back to get that belt, for sure. And he also says, I'm not entirely convinced Kayla Harrison wins the PFL championship this year. I can see Pacheco beating her and claiming it this year. Maybe. Maybe third time's the charm for Larissa. I won't rule it out entirely, but I think she has an uphill battle. And I think a lot of people are kind of overlooking Kayla Harrison right now, or I think a lot of people are down on Kayla Harrison because of the fight against Marina Magnakina. But that was a stylistically tough matchup for Kayla because Kayla's a judoka. Magnakina Sambo, which is very similar to judo, and incorporates a lot of judo into it. So I think stylistically, that was going to be one of the tougher matchups for Kayla. I think people are now like almost underrating her because of that bout. All right, let's keep it going. Also, Friday night, Combate Global has a card. You can watch this on Paramount Plus for English or Univision in Espanol. They have one ladies bout. They're supposed to have 2 ladies bouts. Unfortunately, one of them got pushed back because one of the fighters tested positive for COVID. But they do have one ladies bout. Naomi Tataraglu taking on Melissa Amaya. Amaya there on the left comes in at 3-0. Miss Pitbull Tataraglu coming in at 3-3. Amaya, of course, undefeated. Last spot defeated Jessica Ortega via decision for Kabate 3 months ago. Tataraglu last fought for Kabate a month ago, month and a half, picking up a TKO win. That's all the stats I have for this one. I don't have a pick for this bout. I just thought I'd let you guys know that, PFL, or excuse me, Kabate is having a ladies bout tomorrow night. Supposed to have two, and I was much more excited for the other bout, but that's going to happen on July 15th, so we'll see that one later. Moving on, Saturday morning, early Saturday morning. Over in Okinawa, Japan, we've got Ryzen 36. He has two ladies bouts, both of them in the super atomweight division, which is 49 kilos or 108 pounds. First up, we have Nisei Mizuki Oshiro taking on Valerie Loureda. This is a bit of a appreciation bout to the locals there on the island of Okinawa, because that's where Nisei is from. And Suda is a fast rising atom weight. Both of these fighters are mainstays in Deep Jewels. But looking at the stats here, Nisei coming in at 4-5, Suda coming in, at 5-3. Both ladies coming in off of a loss. Nisei last spot got submitted via armbar 2 months ago by Miki Matono, and Valerie Suda last spot a little over a month ago in Deep Jewels. Lost to the current atomweight champ, Saori Oshima. Suda tried to challenge for the atomweight crown and came up short. Suda is the younger of the fighter by 9 years. She's only 17 years old, so she has 8 bouts under her name. Still hasn't graduated high school yet. Nisei is 26. There's a big difference here in the height, though. 5 feet 2 inches, 157 centimeters for Suda, to 4 feet 11 inches, 151 centimeters for Mizuki Oshiro Nisei. The picture says 5 feet even from Rise, and Technology says that's 4 foot 11. I don't know. I think this will be a fun fight. It's not going to be like the highest skilled bout. I mean, Nisei's coming in with a slightly upside down record, but Suda is a very promising young prospect. I think this will be a fun one because Nisei always comes in. She's always aggressive. She's always coming forward. Suda, a very aggressive grappler, loves to take her opponents down and look for the armbar. I'm going with Valerie Suda to win this one. Should be a fun fight if we're able to watch it. And I'll talk about that in a second here. But also at super atom weight, and this is a battle of grapplers, Miyu Yamamoto taking on Saori Oshima. I like this bout. I think this bout is very, very fun. If you're a grappling fan, this is definitely a bout you want to watch. And not a boring grappling bout either. Like this is going to be like a fast-paced grappling style. Both of these ladies are pretty aggressive, especially Oshima, who is always working for the finish, even from bottom. So this bout should be a fun one. Anyway, the Fighting Queen Miyu coming in at 6-6. Oshima coming in at 8-3. Now Yamamoto is riding a 2-fight skid here, losing to Ayaka Masaki a year and a half ago, which is absolutely no shame. But most recently lost to Reina Kubota in a rematch 6 months ago. Got TKO'd via ground and pound. And I thought she was doing really well in that one, too. And then Reina just got a sudden reversal of fortune, to my recollection. Oshima coming in off of a win of her defense of her Deep Jewels Atomweight Championship just a little over 3 weeks ago over Valerie Suda, who's also on the card we just talked about. Before that, she had suffered a loss at like 100 strawweight. It was like 110 pounds, I want to say, over Namiko Kawabata. That was 3 months back. Big size difference between those two as well. Here's the big difference here, and you can see it in the picture, the age. 20-year difference between these two. Yamamoto is 47 to Oshima's 27. Big thing is, though, Yamamoto does not look 47, and she doesn't fight like a 47-year-old. Like, she came into MMA very late. She didn't start MMA until she was already in her 40s. And so she hasn't taken a lot of damage. And all that time, she was wrestling before that. So big age difference, but I don't think it's going to play a big part here. I'll tell you what might play a difference here is the height difference. 5 feet 1 inch, 156 centimeters for Yamamoto, to 4 feet 11 inches, 149 centimeters for Oshima. So I'm picking Saori Oshima to win this one. I think Yamamoto will be able to take Oshima down, but Yamamoto has always had a weakness for submissions, including submissions from the bottom. And that's where Oshima does her best work, like her absolute best work, is from the bottom, honestly. She'll let fighters take her down. And then she goes to work on the bottom. She throws a lot of up kicks that she's really good at landing. And she's just always hunting for submissions, always on the attack. And very good at armbar. And that is Yamamoto's biggest weakness, has been armbars. So I'm going to go with Saori Oshima by submission here. Yamamoto's best chance is to just keep heavy pressure, be very careful with the ground and pound, keep it tight, and keep that pressure on top. That is going to be her best option. Or just not go to the ground. I think Yamamoto's the better striker of the two. She's not a great striker, but neither is Oshima. And one real big difference here that favors Yamamoto is that all she does is train, whereas Oshima trains like 2, maybe 3 days a week because she's a full-time mom, got twins, doesn't really get a lot of time to train. So that's a big favor in Yamamoto's favor. But I'm going to take Saori Oshima to win the submission. Now, unfortunately, Ryzen 36 is not available on livenow.com, which is where they've been available. It seems Ryzen is taking things in-house. They have something new called Ryzen Stream Pass. And I'm not even sure that it's available internationally. So we might not get to watch these bouts until they get released on YouTube in a week or two. If I get an update, I'll let you know in a community post. I hope we do. I mean, I don't want to miss these two bouts. I want to see them. So hopefully Ryzen figures something out and we can watch them international. Then on Saturday, we have Centurion FC going down in Malta at Fort St. Elmo. First time I think I've ever heard of an MMA event on the island of Malta. It's a tiny little island in the Mediterranean. It's its own little nation. There's like 2 islands in the nation. Someplace I've wanted to visit for years. Anyway, we've got a strawweight bout. Manuela Marcaneto taking on Danny McCormick. Marcaneto, a combate veteran, and also fought for, I want to say it was that Palace Athena organization. But McCormick has been mostly a Bellator mainstay, like a Bellator Europe mainstay. Anyway, the Butcher's daughter, Marcaneto, coming in at 2-1. McCormick far more experienced at 5-1. Martinetto last fought about a month and a half ago for Combate Global, where she defeated Claudia Diaz via decision. McCormick coming in off of the first loss for her career to Stephanie Page via TKO. That was about 2.5, just shy of 3 months ago in Bellator. Before that, she was undefeated. Topology has no other stats available for Martinetto. McCormick is 32 years old. She stands 5 feet 4 inches, 163 centimeters tall, and has a reach of 61.5 inches, 156 centimeters. I'm going to go with McCormick, mostly the experience, but also Martinetto is more of a striker. But I don't think she has the greatest of takedown defense, and that's what's going to help McCormick here. She's a pretty decent wrestler. She can't get the takedowns. She's going to be in trouble. But I'm going to go with McCormick here to pick up another win. She's still going to be fighting for Bellator, by the way. She mentioned this on her Instagram that this was just Bellator was nice enough to let her go get action elsewhere because they don't have a fight for her lined up right now. So she said she did not want to pass up a chance to fight in Malta. I don't blame her. I think anyway, this is going to be live on Twitch. Twitch is, if you're not familiar with it, it's a streaming platform. And like all they do is live streams. It's mostly famous for gamers. Gamers do live streams on it. Also, a lot of thoughts on Twitch. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. I'm gonna try to check this out. It's Saturday in Malta. Let me get rid of this banner so you can see the names here. But Saturday night, we've got UFC 276. This is the big one this weekend. Got two ladies fights, both of them on the early prelims. First up, a bantamweight bout, Jessica Rose Clark taking on Yulia Stolyarenko. Jessie Jess coming in at 11-7, Stolyarenko coming in at 9-6-1. Both of these ladies need a win here. Clark coming in off of a loss to Stephanie Agard 3 months ago. Before that, was riding 2 straight wins, but they were no, they were both at bantamweight. Stolyarenko is winless so far in the UFC. 3 straight losses to Yana Kunitskaya, Julia Avila, and then most recently, about 4 months ago, to Alexis Davis. So Stolyarenko, big need of a win here. If she doesn't get a win here, she's back to Invicta for her. Clark is the elder fighter, 34-29 for Stolyarenko. Stolyarenko slightly taller, 5'7", 170 centimeters to 5'5", 165 centimeters for Clark. And Stolyarenko has the reach as well, 69 inches, 175 centimeters to 67 inches, 170 centimeters. To me, this is a coin flip. Not a big fan of either fighter. Waste of potential, I think, for both of them. Yeah, honestly, just flip a coin on this one. Right? Stolyarenko just cannot put it together and keep it together in fights. Often gets dragged into firefights that she actually does pretty well in the firefights, but then she starts getting outpointed, and then she can't come back from that. And then Jessica Rose Clark is notorious for brain farting in fights. And I would say she has the better ground game than Stolyarenko, but she just likes to get in the striking battles that she can't win. So yeah, I don't really have a pick for this one. Flip a coin. Then down at flyweight, this is a far more interesting fight, in my opinion. We have Jessica I taking on Macy Barber. Now this is a battle. Both of these two are ranked. Jessica I comes in at number 10, Barber at number 13. This is a chance for Barber to move into the top 10 here. Anyway, Evil Eye coming in at 15-10, Barber coming in at 10-2. Jessica I riding 3 straight losses, most recently fought Jennifer Maia, dropped the decision 11 months ago. The future Barber coming in, riding 2 straight wins now over Miranda Maverick via split decision 10 months ago. Most recently fought and defeated Montana De La Rosa via unanimous decision 2 months ago. I is the elder fighter by 11 years. She's 35. Barber is 24. Jessica I just slightly taller. 5 feet 6 inches, 168 centimeters to 5 feet 5 inches, 165 centimeters. And then I also has reach advantage 66 inches, 168 centimeters to 65 inches, 165 centimeters for Macy Barber. This is the test for Barber right now. Modafferi was the test before. I is the test now. I think a lot of people are counting Jessica I out. If you look at the odds, Barber is a minus 270 favorite. I is a plus 220 underdog. Honestly, I think people are underestimating Jessica I just because she hasn't been doing very well. But look at her last win. Her last win, granted, 2.5 years ago, was Viviane Araujo. And Araujo was a promising prospect at that time. And people were counting Jessica I out there. And Jessica I beat her using very simple boxing. I think that's where she's going to want to do in this one. Stick on the outside to mid-range. Use that height and reach. I mean, even if it's slight, use that height and reach. Stay on the outside to mid-range. Whereas Barber, she's found her niche. She doesn't want to. She's not an outside fighter. She's an inside fighter. She wants to get the clinch and just start beating up on opponents. Beat them up on the clinch, get them down the ground, and land ground and pound. That's where she excels. I'm picking Barber to win here. But I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. Don't underestimate Jessica I too much. Just saying, don't underestimate her too much. She could get the win against Barber. All right, so that is it for this weekend's fight preview. So, a couple topics I wanted to talk about. By the way, just a friendly reminder: got 6 people watching live. The chat is open. Feel free to leave comments. Tend to get more lurkers than chatters, which is fine. But I do like the feedback. I do appreciate it. So if you want to say something, hit it up in the chat. Hit up the chat. And also, please remember to hit that like button. Gets the algorithm going. That YouTube algorithm draws more people to the stream. Anyway, 2 topics I wanted to discuss tonight. First up, Bellator's Valerie Loureda has signed with the WWE. She is calling it a day in mixed martial arts. Made a little short, one of those YouTube Shorts videos yesterday about this. But she announced it yesterday on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani. She did a tryout a few months back, and I guess the WWE liked what they saw from her, saw a lot of potential. And let's be honest, she has not been doing well with MMA. She hasn't. I mean, she's 4-1, but she got outpointed by Hannah Guy, which nothing against Hannah Guy, but Hannah Guy was brought in to basically help pad Loreda's record. And Loreda lost that fight. Threw that fight away, too. Absolutely did not listen to her corner. And her corner was giving her good advice, too. Her corner was giving her the advice that she needed, and she just chose to ignore it. But lost to Hannah Guy, took some time off, came back against Taylor Turner, who came in with an upside-down record, and again, was an absolute setup. Barely scrapes by Taylor Turner with a split decision. I think this is a better call for Valerie Loureda. Okay, she can make more money long-term doing the WWE. She'll become a more household name in WWE than she will in Bellator with MMA. I think it's a good choice for her. So I don't blame her for leaving. And honestly, I don't think people are going to miss her that much in MMA. I really don't. I mean, I'm not saying good riddance. I just think that it wasn't a good fit for her. Like a lot of the more hardcore fans did not like her, did not take to her. Just thought she was only in it, for attention and money. She didn't seem to take her training all that seriously. She had power in her hands, which was nice, but like for a Taekwondo fighter, her kicks weren't very good. And for the most part, didn't have a very exciting style. Like she mostly just circled and circled and circled and circled. Basically copied Danielle Taylor in the ring. So I think WWE is a much better fit for her. I'll tell you what really disappoints me though is, I do follow her on Instagram and Twitter. She actually started getting in better shape for the WWE than she ever did for MMA. Like MMA, she'd go in and she'd have like sloppy, like jiggly thighs with cottage cheese and a jiggly butt, which, hey, like Perez says in the chat, she knows what side her bread is buttered on. Most definitely. Her backside. And she'd come in like super thick for her MMA fights, which did not help her. She never looked like she was in like super great shape. I mean, good shape, yes. Like really athletic shape, no. And then I see her the last couple of weeks. She's lost some of the weight in her thighs. She's tightened them up. Lost some of the weight on her butt. Like not too much, but enough. Like she actually started to look like in really great athletic shape. And it's because she's leaving MMA for the WWE. That in itself drives me nuts. It's like, oh, you can't get into really great shape for a real fight, but you'll get into great shape to go play in the WWE. And no disrespect to pro wrestlers, but it's like if anywhere you can get away with being more thick on the thick side, it's in the WWE. So it was nice having Valerie Loureda around, I guess, but I don't think MMA overall is going to miss her. Easy E in the chat says, I really had no appreciation for Loureda until I heard her story on the MMA Hour. Much respect to her. I like the decision for her sake because she really wasn't a good fighter, to be honest. Yeah, I agree. She really wasn't a good fighter. I didn't actually listen to the MMA Hour interview. I can't stand the MMA Hour. I can't stand Ariel Helwani. So I can't really comment on her story. Anyway, the other subject I want to talk about tonight, Julianna Pena applauding Carla Esparza's approach to being champion. And that is actually the headline for MMAnews.com. This is an article 3 days ago. It says Pena applauds Esparza's approach to being champion. So let me go ahead and read this. It says UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion Julianna Pena is impressed with how recently crowned strawweight champion Carla Esparza has handled herself since winning the belt. The 32-year-old was recently asked by the Schmo for her thoughts on the Cookie Monster. Esparza defeated Rose Namajunas at UFC 274 to reclaim the strawweight title She originally won in 2014 at the conclusion of The Ultimate Fighter Season 20. It says Pena was quick to praise the 34-year-old for her ability to persevere and get her belt back, as well as how she's conducted her business as champion so far. Quote, I love Carly, you know what I mean? Pena said. I won The Ultimate Fighter, then she won it right after me. I love that she's Latina and love that she is able to go in there and win her belt back. I thought it was very inspiring and I loved what she did. And do whatever the champ wants, whoever you want to fight. I like that she's standing up and says, I call the shots here. Says there's no date or opponent set for Esparza's first title defense yet, but many assume former champion Zhang Weili is currently at the front of the line following her highlight reel knockout of Joanna Jędrzejczyk at UFC 275. He says Esparza has so far resisted being pressured into any matchup, and the Schmo mentioned that the 30-year-old recently suggested Marina Rodriguez as a possible challenger instead of Zhang. Says Pena thinks that Esparza has earned the right to make those calls for herself. Quote, of course everyone's going to be barking up at her, but she's the queen, she decides, and she's the one who's going to be able to decide who her next fight is and who's deserving or not. And I definitely think that Marina is definitely deserving of that title shot as well. So whoever Carla wants. Says Pena upset longtime women's bantamweight queen Amanda Nunes at UFC 269 when she submitted the Brazilian in the second round. The two fighters coached opposite one another on the currently airing season 30 of The Ultimate Fighter and are set to rematch at UFC 277 in July. So Pena largely echoing what I've been saying, and that, Esparza is the champ. Like it or not, she has the title. She does get at least some say in when she fights. If not who, which Pena thinks she should have some say in who she fights as well. But even if she doesn't necessarily get some say in who she fights, she definitely is going to get some say in when and the where. And this is a fellow champion backing up, the strawweight champ. Pena, a lot of people, there's definitely some parallels between the two of them because most people were counting out Julianna Pena ahead of her fight against Amanda Nunes, myself included. And everybody was counting out Esparza ahead of her fight with Rose Namajunas. So there's some even more parallels. They both went into their last fight as very big underdogs, and they walked out as champ. And the bantamweight champ says, "Hey, I respect what Esparza is doing as the champ, and I agree. She deserves some say, whether you appreciate her being the champ or not, whether you like it or not. She is the champ. She walked out of that octagon with the belt, and she deserves some of the say in what she does next. Personally, I think it's definitely going to be Zahn next. I agreed. I do agree with what Esparza says that Marina Rodriguez is the more deserving of the belt, but we all know the UFC wants that Chinese money, and they're going to go with Zahn. The big question is going to be when. Esparza said, November or December, so that's most likely when it's going to go down. But I do think it's very interesting that Pena, the bantamweight champ, came out and backed up her fellow champion in Esparza. So just wanted to point this out. Thought it was pretty cool of Pena. What are your thoughts there, chat? Easy E says, I think people are wrongly looking past Esparza, including Zahn. I can see Zahn putting herself in position to be taken down and out wrestled if she has no respect and comes I agree. I think, well, people are honestly always looking past Esparza. I mean, pull up a record real quick here. People were looking. People were looking past her when she faced Rose. People definitely looked past her when she faced Marina Rodriguez. Esparza has not had did not have an easy road back to the title. She really did not. Uh, and I think people are overlooking her against Zahn. Do I think she wins against Zahn? I don't know. I think Zahn will be the favorite, and rightfully so. But Zahn's never faced a wrestler at the level of Esparza, so we'll have to see. Anyway, that's really all I have for tonight. So if anyone else has anything in the chat, go ahead and say it now. Give you a second. If not, we're going to get ready to close out. Doesn't look like we have anything, so let's get the closing music playing. Okay, so if you have anything left in the chat, now's your chance. We got 6 people watching. Don't be shy, guys. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to speak up. Easy E says, great show today. Thank you, Easy E. Yeah, don't ever be afraid to speak up in the chat. I mean, if you just want to look, that's okay. But feel free to give your opinions. I appreciate it. I welcome all opinions, whether I agree or not. All I ask is, keep them respectful. Don't insult me. Don't insult other people. And don't be racist, because that'll get you blocked right away. So never be afraid to speak up in the chat. Also, please, if you haven't yet, please hit that like button. It draws more people to the stream. Even on the playback, it'll draw more people. So hit that like button. Now, hopefully, if you are not subscribed yet, hopefully I have earned your subscription. If you feel that I have, go ahead, hit that subscription button. We've got content coming out all the time. I try to do a live stream every week with the WMMA report. Sometimes I'll do weekend recaps if it was a good weekend, a big weekend. But I try to keep the content flowing. I try to cover as many ladies fights as I can. Like, this is, a lot of MMA channels are basically UFC channels. That's not me. I try to let you know what is going on out there. That way, when prospects come to the bigger shows like Bellator, the UFC, hopefully I covered them and you are already familiar with them. So you can tell people like, yeah, I knew about this girl, I watched her fight. And hopefully that's because of me. So I try to, cover a broad range of subjects going on in the women's divisions. So hopefully today was the day I earned that subscription. If not, I'm going to keep trying. But if I did earn it, go ahead, hit that subscription button and hit the notification bell. It'll at least let you know when I go live. Other than that, it is getting late. I'm tired. Hopefully you had enjoyed this show. We will see you next time. Have a good night, everybody.